Welcome to A Legend Talks.
Yes.
Episode
with the legendary
Michael Bowie.
Emmanuel Pierce. And it's funny because the title of this chapter is called A New Dawn. But today I got a new dumbass.
We can all see that no one is laughing at his shitty joke because no one cares. But I just want to tell everybody, first of all, purchase the book. If you guys have not purchased the book, it's a good time for you to go ahead and cop it.
Yes.
This is the remastered version, but I will be remastering it one more time just because there's some things I'm going to change the sizing and some of the positioning. But so there will be a remaster, but you can get this remaster, which does have 50,000 more words, or you can get the original. It's available on Amazon only for the remastered ebook and print. And it's available 35,000 plus retailers. That's Barnes & Nobles, Amazon, Google Play, ebook, print, whatever for the original version.
And when you buy one copy of this, Michael will sign another copy.
See, that didn't come out of my mouth because that's a lot of work. And I'm willing to do it though. If you maybe we could talk about it. If you hit me up inside the comments, maybe I'll do it for that loyal kind of purchaser that purchases all 3 books, because there are currently 3 books inside of the series. Now let's jump right into talking about it. This is the final chapter of the entire book, which means that the next episode we're going to start delving into characters. So to kind of wrap up everything, we've learned a lot about the story. We've talked about everything that has happened within inside of the series. And this is now the point where John goes to get his revenge. He sets out to come across Dominic, and he fights his way into the building where Dominic is held up. He kills Jarvis. He bumps into his son. Does not realize that it's his son. Almost kills him, actually. Realizes it's a kid. I'm not going to kill a kid. Let him go. I'm not the murderous type, just like Dominic is, who killed my kid, kind of ordeal. And he lets him go. And while Sky is running out, he accidentally snags his chain that has his name on it and falls onto the ground. So that's kind of an important thing that happens. But all in all, Dominic is confronted by John. John kills him by shooting him out the window. And so it's a new dawn. It's a new day. And it's a new life for me. You don't even know that song. You're too young. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm not old.
Yeah.
This guy.
I was speaking a language he can understand. Goo goo gaga? Gaga goo goo.
No.
I
understand. Don't make me say
So, yes, I'm excited because now we need a new president or world leader to take over now that the man of the world is down and dead and out. And so they're trying to find a new person. What do you do? Give me that. You don't need...
Get up off my head. Come on, man.
Just assure the people it's not a real thing.
It is a real thing.
It's not a real thing.
Can you hurry up?
It's not a real thing. We've already talked about it. Anyway, so, yes. So, Stacy is kind of being provoked to run for the office. And she doesn't really want to do it. She doesn't want all that responsibility, but she's kind of coerced when she comes across one of her nemesis that she used to work for, Lenore Graves, who is running for office. There are several people. There's Lenore Graves, there's Walt Michaels, and there is...
Put some respect on his name, sir. It's Senator Walt Michaels. Thank you very much.
Anyway, I wrote the fucking book. Thank you very much.
And you don't know how to put proper respect on his name.
I'll call
Senator.
it whatever the fuck I want to call it.
Senator.
Okay, you put some respect on my name, Mr. Bowie. You know how you children need to respect your elders.
Mr. Dumbass.
So, like I said, is that we're moving into a good light where somebody has to step up and be that new leader. And even at some point, Sky, who wants to kind of fulfill the shoes of his father, and be that person that takes over that legacy, he steps up. So you got 4 people that are running for office, and it ends with Chance kind of getting that bracelet that we remember talking about that was given to Marie by John, that was a gift from Jesse the night that they kind of fell apart and split apart. So there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot that happened inside of here. So yeah, so let's ask our questions without the hat. Put the hat away.
Excuse me.
See, now before I couldn't put you in a fucking headlock. But now,
yeah, A-Rock, I am always
I
right.
Put you.
Hey, A-Rock, thank you for tuning in, my guy. I am always right. I appreciate you, my boy.
What are you talking about?
He said red shirt dude's always right. Thanks.
Richard, dude.
Red shirt dude is always right. Red shirt.
He
dude.
must be colorblind because this is blue.
Anywho.
Okay, it's not a real
Reporter E!
It's not real
Checking in live from E! News. We have the author with us. Get my trusty dusty microphone.
That's just your phone.
Shut the f up.
You're just talking into the bottom of your phone.
We're here with resident author, writer, playwright, director, producer, photographer, videographer, editor,
DJ.
resident jackass.
Nope, that's the one I don't know about. I don't know about that one.
Michael Bowie. And we're here to ask the hard-hitting questions.
Into his phone, yes.
Our first question of today.
Uh-huh.
John kind of went Wide Wick in this chapter.
He did. John fucking Wick.
There seems to be some kind of pop culture references in this book that you may or may not take influence from. You know, you watch a lot of action movies. I know, because we do Film Addict. It comes on every Tuesday at 2 o'clock.
Check it out.
So, were there any influences in kind of the way you wrote this action scene or set this action scene up with John?
I really wanted it to be that badass American. Get the fucking phone out of my goddamn face. I wanted it to be that action-y John Wick, American Sniper kind of ordeal. Like one of the most badass things. And I think anybody that directs a movie, they want it to be the best that they could possibly be. So I wanted this to be like some of the best sequences you can possibly read. I mean, you can't physically see it, but you can definitely read it and kind of imagine it inside of your head. And I wanted him to be a badass. For all this hype that he hasn't been really involved into the story, the resistance, fighting back and whatever, but to know that he has a fighting background, to see him unleash with rage and revenge. You know, he was killing motherfuckers left and right. It was like he was the Jack Bauer of this fucking book. And so yeah, I think a lot of influences because I wanted it to be to that caliber.
So that moves me into my next question. What was behind the decision? You said you wrote this book in a vacuum. There wasn't supposed to be 2 books or a prequel. So what was the decision to not unite John and Sky? What prompted that?
I think that people...
You can say that was a good question because I know it is.
It is a good question, but you can get your goddamn phone out my face. Basically, I feel like many stories end with a happy ending. It ends with all the loopholes being, you know, discovered and you know, figured out and talked about. But I wanted a shrouded mystery about everything, you know. I wanted people to not really have a happy ending, but have a happy ending. They got it when he killed, you know, the world leader, but did he get it within the salvation of finding out who his son was? So, I mean, that's the best way I can answer the question, is that I wanted it to kind of be left up in the air. It was always meant for that.
So, that'll bring me to my next question. What prompted you to write a second and third book if it was supposed to be, this was it?
Too many people. Well, again, with the goddamn phone, okay?
Can you stop touching my equipment?
It's not. Well, if you consider a phone,
this is my job. Do I come to your job and touch your stuff? No.
No, because I won't let you in the fucking door.
Okay, so
anyway, like I was saying, is that I feel like. Arguing with your dumbass made me forget the goddamn question. What's the question?
Why? What was the decision to write the second and third?
Oh yes. So many people had definitely read the first one, and they were asking me, and I just got tired of them asking me, well, what happens? Well, nothing. It's the end. Well, can you write more? This was so good. I want to know more about it. And when I got all that feedback after doing a book release and a book party for this, and so many people that had read the book and gotten back to me, they were begging me, like, what happens next? Is there more? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, how could there be more if Dominic's dead? How could there be more? I'm just writing another book for you guys to know about his son. And I started thinking about it and giving a lot more thought to what direction this could possibly go into and how I can make it more interesting and spice it up. It's thought that I had never given before to this concept of this book. And I came up with something that was really interesting. And it was something actually that happened inside of the news long ago with a guy named Saddam Hussein. And so when stuff was going on with him, that kind of sparked an idea with me. And
we know who Saddam Hussein is. Continue. We all know who Saddam Hussein is.
I didn't say that they did. And there might be somebody out there that doesn't know who he is. And not everyone's knowledgeable. I came across people that didn't know who Michael Jackson was or Bruce Willis. And I almost smacked the shit out of him because I'm a big Michael Jackson fan. But that's neither here nor there. But the fact of the matter is that when they asked all these questions, and I came across that, and I came up with an idea for a second and third book, I made a promise to everybody. I said, hey, I will write the second book in a full year and publish it and release it. And then the next year, I'll write a third book in 1 year and publish it and release it. And I did. So for the next 2 years of that time, I was writing the second and the third book to this series. Which we will eventually get to once we cover all the characters and everything else inside of some of the future episodes here on the Legend Talks. Just so that people can kind of get an idea of what yours and mine, from the author perspective and from the reader's perspectives, thoughts are on each character. You're not a reporter. You're not really a reporter. You didn't go to school for reporting. This is not a real microphone. It's just your phone.
A lot of people do a lot of jobs.
I'm not gonna do this fucking back and forth, but
it doesn't matter.
I'm not gonna say it. No mo. Is you finished or is you done?
I'm neither.
You're done. No, so stop. My nerves.
Please stop touching my recording.
I'm not. That's your phone, okay? So that's really the gist of it. And so I think that when I got into the second and third book, and I know that we're not talking about it, but I'm just going to touch to say that I'm really happy with the direction because I was able to do some unthinkable things and go inside of some unthinkable directions with a lot of the things that happen, and I was able to delve deeper into a lot of the different characters and the story and the backstory. And I think that this is and I know that people that are watching are going to be like, don't compare this to Star Wars. But to me, it's like a Star Wars thing where it has its own universe. Where
that's a good... Hold on. A-Rock, yes, I know a phone has a microphone. Again, a new dumbass. Anywho.
Is this a friend of yours? Is this a friend of yours? I feel like this is a friend of yours that you asked it to me every single week.
It's not a friend.
Because I've never heard of no A-Rock.
A-Rock. A new dumbass.
You're talking into this microphone like he's gonna hear him on the other microphone. Anyway, A-Rock, you was real cool last week when you was understanding what I was talking about with hate and revenge, and now all of a sudden you're siding with this red shirt buffoon here. It's kind of ridiculous. But let's jump back into what we're talking about.
Star Wars. That's a good reference. I want to kind of bring it up because someone brought it to my attention. It's kind of Star Warsy with the father scenario. Is there any influence there?
I don't think so. I'm a big Star Wars fan, but I don't think that had any impact or influence on the direction that I went with this book. It was its own story that had been developed over time. And I don't know, I'm pretty sure I thought I told the story of how A Legend Story came about in one of the first few episodes, how I came up with it. It was just a story, like a scene of some guy fighting somebody inside of an alley for 5 minutes because I wasn't getting any sleep. I was working 5 jobs and I was going to 2 different colleges, and so it grew into where I had to just envision more of the scene because I got tired of seeing the same 5 minutes of me pretending I was this character, aka John Lewis, beating up this character inside of an alley, or beating up several characters inside of an alley. So it just grew to something bigger. So it was always its own thing. Now whether that had any kind of influence from movies that I watched, I don't know. But me personally watching Star Wars came long before me writing this.
Okay. So the final question for the folks at home that we must ask. We're closing out. We're done with the Legend story. We're going to talk about the characters in the coming weeks, and then we're going to move on to A Legend Continues.
Mm-hmm.
Out of 5, what would you rate A Legend story?
A 5. Obviously.
And why? This is the final episode for A Legend story other than talking about the characters, so you got to give people a reason, A-Rock in the comments, for instance, to go buy this. What is the reason?
Notice that this microphone he keeps looking at to see what A-Rock is saying, just to let everybody know. But it's a microphone.
Anyway, it is a microphone. Anyway, give them your elevator pitch. What is it? If you had to tell somebody one reason to pick up this book,
I get your fucking question. I can answer it. It is unique, and it's in the concept that it's relatable. And that it's a story that I've never seen done. And obviously, for copyright reasons, you can't have a story that's already done. But a lot of stories are kind of repitched and repositioned. But the things that are going on in the regular world that deal with politics, presidents, viewpoints, was really the main attack that I wanted. I wanted people to stop arguing via their own political party and political points of views, but this kind of grew to something bigger where it was something where I was trying to teach a lesson of moral when I did the whole series of 3 books. And so just this book in general, it's impactful. Like, each page is a page turner, and I think that you will agree for somebody that read it. And you get into that becoming a page turner very early. Like, some people that read a book and they're not really into it until, like, I don't know, a couple chapters in, a chapter or 2, maybe several 50 pages or whatever. This book becomes a page turner, maybe after 5 pages, 6 pages? If that, maybe even less, 4 or 5 pages, I would say, it becomes this page turner that you're engrossed in and that you're hooked in. And like, each time that you turn the page and you read that page, you want to know what happens on the next page. And I won't say that there's no books that are out there like that, but this, because it has such a unique concept and still kind of has the morals and messages, the things that people can relate to, whether it's characters or the things that happen, make it so entertaining. I can't tell you how many people say that they would love to see this as a movie or next Netflix series or whatever the case may be, and I'm in that same boat. Whether I wrote it or not, I think that it's something that would be action-packed, would be thrilling for people to watch, that could go so many different seasons and for a long time that people would be intrigued by.
All right. I got a couple comments that I want to read.
I hope your phone battery dies.
A-Rock says, it goes back and forth between whose side he's on. And second, each page turns.
Yeah, look at your phone.
Each page turns the page. Oh, I got the microphone going and the comments, so I can see both. He says each page turns the page. That was kind of confusing to him. But yeah, anyway, thank you, A-Rock. So this has been Reporter E.
He's not a reporter. He's not a real thing.
From E! News. And we will be back.
You know what?
In the coming weeks.
I'll just help you out here. He's done. Alright, anyway, so, like I said...
Anyway, this is Reporter E from E! News. Thank you guys for tuning in so much. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We will be back to interview Michael Bowie, in the coming weeks.
Stop talking to your phone. Okay, so anyway, first of all, I'm going to address A-Rock.
Yes, A-Rock. Reporter E is the best reporter.
No, Reporter E is not even a real fucking reporter. So let me talk to A-Rock. I don't really know A-Rock, but he seems to have a, opinionated point of view on everything. So... just to let you in, I don't know if you, and I'm just talking to A-Rock, I don't know how many people are watching or how many people will watch, but I will say this to you, that if you buy the book or have bought the book and or read the book, we would love to hear kind of your thoughts on stuff, whether it's the characters, whether it's the story. So definitely, if you can get a copy, that'd be great. If you wanted to be on the show, hit us up, let us know. Maybe it's some way we can connect, get you on there, and hear your feedback, and incorporate you into our funny shenanigans. And definitely that will.
Well, we know whose side
we can put a
That's
segment.
My homie. Shout
we can put a segment
A-Rock
in with you and I and get rid of him and his stupid reporter.
Shout out to my homie.
So
A-Rock.
anyway, and obviously I'm assuming that it's a friend of yours. You said, hey, you should get on here every time.
No,
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty
because,
sure that's what you did.
Because he come out
so
here and
anyway,
spit the hot dollar facts, he don't.
Anyway, to my questions, let's talk about real serious things, because yours is kind of this comedic bullshit, not real segment, but mine kind of delves deeper in from a reader segment.
They were all great questions.
So, we've talked about revenge, but let's talk about murder.
Mm-hmm.
He killed him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted,
that's what I'm going to do to you in a second.
This is in a world where crime is legal.
Mm-hmm.
You can do whatever you want as long as you pay the crime tax, but he went and he killed him. He became the same kind of villain that he kind of hates. What are your thoughts on that? Are you against that? Are you for that?
I know as a writer, director, screenplay writer, actor, editor, producer, resident jackass.
Stops right there. Stops right there.
That you have heard the saying, if you live long enough, you'll see yourself become the villain.
You either die a hero
or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Does that answer my question?
It does. It actually answers your question perfectly. Like, yeah, he lived long enough to see himself become the villain. Like,
but is he the villain because he set up for revenge for somebody that took everything from him?
The way you frame that question makes him seem like he's the villain.
Because at the end of the day, two wrongs don't make a right. So him going
two rights make a left. But
and this is why I'm the stand-up comic and you're not. But from the perspective that he's now a murderer, whether he's inside of a world where
I'm sure John has killed people before,
where it's allowed. But he's an FBI former
okay,
FBI
so
agent.
It's sanctioned murder. If he paid the crime tax.
Yeah, first of all, it never even said that he went and killed anybody. You're just assuming that because he was an FBI agent.
As an FBI agent, if he killed someone, then he's sanctionedly murdered, but he's still murdered.
Okay, but if there are plenty of people that probably have never done that, you're not even answering the question. The question at hand
is he
right, considering that he committed murder in the justified purpose of revenge for this guy that
should you revenge
killed
murder?
His family?
Should you revenge
killed
murder
his friend?
people? No. But does he have a compelling reason to not only save the world?
Is he saving the world? Because Dominic thought that he was helping the world, and what he was doing, and that's kind of a deep. When we get into different characters, we'll talk about it because there are two different worlds. And A-Rock, you can feel free to chime in here about it. The question's going to come up again, but I'm going to kind of ask it now. People want to, for those that have read the book, you have this dystopian world and you have the utopia world, which is considered the world that we live in. The world that you live in every day, going to work, you commit a crime, you go to jail, and then the dystopian world that Dominic created, where crime is legal and you can do whatever you want, you can kill people, you can steal, you can do whatever, you can't carry a gun as long as you pay the crime tax. Which world is better? And there are reasons in the book that are very logical that he explains why this helps, and it did help create less crime, believe it or not, because that's the reason why people steal. They steal so that they can have stuff. But when you have what other people have, then there's really no reason to steal. There's an inequality dysfunction where some people are at the bottom of the food chain and some people are at the top of the food chain. But when people are able to do it without consequence, per se, and then they have the equal amount of things that everybody else has, then there's no reason to steal. So Dominic created this kind of world. Which world is better? So that's going to be an ongoing question. But I backtracked to the question that I had at hand about him murdering.
Okay, so
him killing somebody in order to justify this. Dominic, it was the world that we had. I don't care what party you belong to, and that's why I'll say both presidents' names. You can argue Donald Trump and be mad at the things he does. But he was doing stuff that many people on his party agreed with. And you can argue Joe Biden. There are many people that disagree, hate him, whatever, but he's doing stuff where people on his party think that he's doing a great job. It's the same concept from a utopian world and a dystopian world, whether it's the president before Dominic Harvey or Dominic Harvey. So, this is the villain that people want to put him out to be, Dominic Harvey. And now he's gone, but he was murdered inside of his world. Was that right?
Okay, I'm going to answer the question.
I hope so, because I've been asking for it.
I'm going to give you a reporter tip. When you're interviewing someone, you don't generally cut them off. You let them,
okay. Well, then I'm going to need you to understand that when you're a reporter, this fake reporter that's answering.
I never cut you off.
Oh,
anyway,
you did.
You let them finish, and then you follow up with a question. Can
you answer my question?
Not a diatribe, but a question.
Can you answer my question?
To respond to.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
From Reporter E University. Anyway,
not even a real thing. It's like Trump University.
Again, we don't promote revenge killing, but there's two to three things here that I want to point out. One, John is an FBI agent. He's probably killed somebody before.
You don't know.
We have sanctioned killings all over the world. People knock off dictators all the time, or knock off America. We do regime change everywhere. So, and people don't seem to have a problem with that. They don't think that that's wrong. When they think somebody's bad and they want them gone from the leadership in their country, even though their people may or may not want that, nobody ever says anything's wrong with that. So, and I feel like also in our movie culture, too, revenge killing is allowed. I mean, somebody killed John Wick's dog, and he murdered like 30,000 people. So,
there's a lot of people.
And nobody said John Wick was wrong. It depends.
That's a good point, though. Like, nobody's just like, why is he killing so many people? Like,
I'm just saying. Like, I feel like we live in a world where every action has an opposite and equal reaction, right? So he took his family, and the karmic justice of this story, of alleged story, is that John takes his life. And I don't think anybody has a problem with that. I don't think people see him as a villain. Now, do they see him as a hero? I think they would. I think our culture predominates people to see John as a hero and not as a villain. So, would I say he's wrong in the fact that if you hold true to your principles as a man, if you hold true to your principles, and one of your principles is do not murder no matter what, then yes. But if your principles aren't that, or you see it in a different way, then most people will say he's right for taking care of his business.
But he did it out of revenge, and not to backtrack to revenge, it's just the fact of what's right and wrong. You know, if Dominic kills somebody in what he believes to be the right reason and the right thing to do justice, he's the villain for it. But John does it because he murdered his family. He never would have killed Dominic if it wasn't for him murdering his family. He probably would have just lived his life out inside of the chaotic world like everybody else did, or maybe became part of the resistance. But now he's the hero to many people because he kills Dominic Harvey. Why is that? How is that different? Why is that right?
Two retorts to that. One, Dominic is set up a world where crime is legal. So technically, there's nothing wrong with John murdering him as long as he's paid the crime tax.
So
he's following the rules then.
The follow-up question, and A-Rock or anybody else that wants to chime in definitely can chime in the comments. Which world do you think is best? I'm going to ask the question again, but I'm asking it to you, Manny, personally. Just you for right now, and then we'll chime in with this question again, I'm sure, inside the future. Which world do you think is best? The world that we live in today, you as a lawyer who knows, like, you commit a crime, you go to jail, or the dystopian world that Dominic Harvey created, where crime is legal and everybody has equal amount of stuff, or you can steal or kill to get to that equal amount of stuff? Am I boring you with my question?
Yes, you are. Terrible reporter. Which one is better? Neither. I prefer neither, but if I have to pick,
you have to pick. Which one is better? Dystopian, utopian. The world that we live in now, or the world that he created?
They're gonna be.
You want me to give my answer while you're waiting?
Sure, go ahead.
While you're thinking, I'm gonna honestly say that I hate the world that we live in, and I hate it because of the whole. And like, I work with homeless youth and everything, and I see people that struggle, that work super hard to try and get stuff, and people that don't work hard at all, and they're inherited stuff, and they have stuff that nobody else has, and they don't work as hard. It's not to say all of them. Some of them probably worked really hard to get to the point that they are, but there's a lot just where we're at a different level. Food is a good example, where food is something that we all need to live. It is a necessity. And they make it very difficult for people to get that. You know, granted, there's programs out there that allow for people to get food. I just feel like some people they have millions of dollars, so food's not really a worry. When some people are like, oh, I have to get on welfare or get food stamps or whatever, and just, you know, they have to really work hard to make ends meet, or they have disabilities or whatever the case may be, in order to be at that same kind of level, barely to make ends meet, to survive by the necessity of having food, or even just healthcare in general. And I just feel like if we all had the free necessities, looking at like Canada, which has free healthcare, and, you know, some places that, you know, maybe even in the country where you can grow your own crops, I think that it needs to be more prevalent, and people maybe assist and help each other in order to give away those crops or whatever to people that need them. That there should be some type of service that does that, and I feel like I'm doing foreshadowing, so I'm trying to be very careful with my words, which is why I'm talking at the way that I am. Because you will see some of this stuff kind of talked about in future books. But I just feel like people need the same. Now, granted, I'm against killing. You know, the second book is dedicated to my friend that was murdered. 12 people rolled up on him in Detroit, shot and killed him. Had a wife and 2 daughters. First book's dedicated to my cousin that was killed by an 18-wheeler semi-truck. So murder and killing, that's not something I'm for. However, I do like the equality of Dominic's world. I think that it's great. Now, if I had to pick one, maybe I'll pick Dominic's. Because killing already happens in our world. There's consequences inside of both worlds. The whole thing is that the way I wrote it is that the change that we all want, where there's an equality, everybody has what each other has. I think that is the best world that I can think of. Nobody's above anybody else. Everyone has the same thing. There's downsides to both worlds, but that's the best sell point for me.
Yeah, so I feel like I would want to live in a world where we had some equality of.
But pick a world first. You have to pick a world
resources
first.
And stuff like that. But I feel like here, the choice is between what we deem as safety and security of your life and your property, versus what can be a perceived equality, but may come with other things. Your safety and stuff may be at risk if someone has paid the crime tax. Whatever they do to you is legal. So, if I had to pick a world, I would pick ours just because I don't want to live in a world where we allow people to just do whatever they want. Cause
you already live in that world. People get away with crimes all the time. The people that murdered my friend are still. They was caught on camera and they're still walking around free.
I don't disagree, and that's why I hate having either option, because I don't want either world. I if anything, I would have a mix of the two. I don't want either world. I don't like things about our world, and I don't like things about their world, and I don't want to pick between either of them, because I don't think either of them are the right solution for me. But at the end of the day, we live in our world. And so how can we take some of the ideas that are in this book?
You do understand, though, that there are worlds out there that are similar to Dominic's, where they're not set up like the United States, where people are just walking around with guns, killing each other in streets and everything else.
And no, other places that are not like us survive and function just fine, and that would be, I would be okay with more equity, the more equity they have, but they're not perfect either. There's no perfect scenario.
I think that
There's
either world,
we can all work on.
Either world, you have the distilled fear of dying, of someone else killing you, robbing you, whatever else. You walk around with that fear all the time, and that's definitely going to be a word that we revisit. The last question before we get out of here kind of touches on the senators that are running for office.
Senator Walt Michaels.
All the senators that are running for office.
Walt Michaels.
Do you like the people that are chosen? Like, what are your thoughts on each person from reading what you know? I mean, I know a lot's not given about Lenore Graves and Senator Walt Michaels, but there's definitely stuff that is given on them to where you can make an assessment. What are your thoughts on all four senators that are running? That's Lenore Graves, Walt Michaels, Stacey Parks, and Sky Harvey.
So when I first read this, I was cheering for Stacey to be the winner of this race, because she's a part of the protagonist team, and so that is why I was cheering for her. But in the back of my mind, I would say Sky winning would be interesting. It would be an interesting setup. It would be the people of their world reaffirming the choice of Dominic, basically, by choosing his son. Mm-hmm. So I thought that would be an interesting setup. Lenore Graves and Walt Michaels, they're just people. Everybody's got to have somebody to beat, so I just feel like they're there.
I think that's the interest that I put. You know, when us as Americans, when we have people running, there's always one side on each, Democrat and Republican, running. But now I've put four sides, four differing opinions and everything, and different personalities and different directions and goals set in mind for the world if they were to be elected. And that's how A Legend Continues starts off. We start off with this election process of all of these people running and giving their insight on what they would do differently, why people should vote for them, and finding out who is going to be the new world leader out of these four people. And I would say this is the point where a lot of those opinions are going to be put out there of why they think let's do it this way. This is what would help. Because at the end of the day, like you said, the world that we live in isn't perfect. We need to make it perfect. And so we haven't done anything different. We can say we're changing things here and there, but it's not making an overall change. We're still, we're moving at a very slow progress if there is change. And it's like, to me, we move 2 steps forward, we might move 3 steps backwards, then we might move 1 step forward, and then we might move 5 steps backward, and then we might move 10 steps forward, and then we might move 8 steps backwards. It's a process where we're not consistently moving forward. And so all of the different directions are just proposed ideals that I think that we as Americans and people around the world may have never tried, coming from each of the 4 senators, that are innovative ideas, and some are good, some are bad, some are stupid, some are smart. But I think that all in all, they are definitely things that will cause people as readers to kind of open their minds, like, why have we never done this? Or, that's a stupid idea, but maybe they'll think about it. So I'm interested, even when we get to a legend continues to kind of talk about that process. And I'm just happy for people to kind of learn about all 4 of these different senators. So that's really all that we have for you guys today for A Legend Talks. Please don't forget to buy a copy of the book. Like I said, it's on print and ebook. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on other retailers if you guys wanted the original before the remaster that has 50,000 more words.
And
but
I said, if you buy 1 copy, Michael will sign another
see,
copy.
that again did not come out of my mouth.
And you continue our copy back.
So to everybody that are watching, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check us out on some of the other shows that we have here on the channel. There are definitely more shows to come. A-Rock, like I said, if you ever want to be a guest on the show and give your thoughts, whether it's just in general, like during my segments, which are more not geared towards the actual book, they're more geared towards life, but based on the book. You could definitely be on here even without reading it, but we would love to have other people. That's the whole purpose in us doing this live show, is to get that feedback in the comments and to get other people on the show, whether they've read the book or not, just to have some of these serious conversations about real life shit, because it's conversations that need to be had. Conversations and things that need to be thought about, because we can only move forward by giving some of the younger youth, some of the other individuals in the world, besides our government that most may be paid off to do certain things, a chance to reinvent ways that we can do better. Because otherwise, if the dystopian world is the one that you hate, if we don't make any change, that's the direction that we're headed. Now for me, I'm okay with it, because at the end of the day, the sad part is that it takes loss just for people to wake up.
At the end of the day, you got your Glock and your shotgun, so you good.
I'm good. I'm good. But I'm not a believer in guns, but I'd rather have it than not have it. Yes. So that's all we have for you guys today. Check us out next week. As always, I am the legendary Michael Bowie.
And I am the legendary Emmanuel Pierce.
And this has been
A Legend
Talks.